Hello, everybody. Oh no!
Perfect.
Oh my god.
Great start to the stream.
Lord. Oh my
That's
gosh.
my great start with
Oh,
you.
hello, everybody. Welcome to. Oh my. You know what, Elias? You take it. I feel another.
Hi,
burp coming out.
hi, everybody. Welcome to the Cluckin
Oh.
Crew podcast. Today we have a very special guest, our good friend Brian Finlay.
Hey,
Hello,
everybody.
yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh.
You okay, Mike?
I'm good. I'm fine. I promise. Just
Okay.
where did the
Michael.
wise folks never scarfed out?
We
a
know that
porta
we'll
potty.
never leave this down, Michael.
Someone clip that.
Hell
What was your
yeah,
favorite?
burp.
What was your favorite podcast? My favorite was when Michael just started burping right at the beginning.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Anyway, all right, hell yeah,
Oh,
burping.
the ice is
Thank you.
broken.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Oh my gosh, I've known Brian here forever. But anyway, proper intro. Welcome to the Cluckin Crew podcast, the official Chucky Chicken podcast. I am one of your hosts, the creator and voice of Chucky himself, Michael Cook. With me, as always, is my very good pal, the one and only Elias Levine.
Hello.
Along with him and one of our dearest friends and art director for Chucky Chicken, Tino Cockatera.
Hello.
And our very, very special guest for today, veteran animator and the creator and director producer of the Ug Wug, Brian Finlay.
Hey, how's it going?
Doing good. So good to have you on the show. And
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah. And
Oh,
thank
it's super cool to be on. I love the whole setup here, and I've never
Right?
looked better. So,
you know, it's amazing what a new coat of paint will do for you, let me tell you.
absolutely.
Oh yeah.
So before we begin, we got to do all those fun little, YouTube-y things. Please make sure that you like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, click the bell so you're notified every time we go live, every time we upload a new video, blah, 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 blah. Flint, that is not nice. Tino is short. Yes, we know he's short, but he's a little monkey.
Also, a special shout out to Tamerco once again coming in clutch with the
I'm
50
short in real
bucks,
life,
dude.
don't
You
worry.
are so generous, and
My-
we're gonna do something special for you because you've been amazing. I can't even put it
Yeah.
into words.
I can't either. So we're gonna
Oh,
do
cool.
something really special for you. But in the meantime, we have a very special show where we brought our friend Brian on to talk about a little bit about his career and what he's up to up in Canada.
Yeah, over my neck of the
Yeah.
woods, except for East Coast.
Yeah, the opposite. Yeah, the
Yeah.
complete opposite direction of you. But before we get into all that, we have a little, time for the news.
Time
Hit that
for
s-
the news.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That-
The
that's
Discord
all right.
sound board on Discord comes in pretty handy.
Oh, does it
Man.
ever?
I gotta step my live streaming game up, man.
Listen, it took us a while to get here. I'll be real.
Oh,
If you
yeah.
look at
Oh,
our
my
first
goodness.
streams, they're
Love it.
completely different.
A lot of meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't look at our first streams. We don't need to. We don't need to. But in the meantime, let's talk a little bit of the news. I know we promised you a review of the first 4 episodes of Has Been Hotel, the latest release from Spindle Horse, created and produced by Vivian Madrano, a indie animator turned good, or made good, I guess you could say. However, Elias didn't watch it. So we can't-
I got distracted and having fun with my roommate, okay? We were playing
Yeah.
games.
Whoa.
Whoa. Not like that.
Oh, don't worry. You know.
Okay.
Okay.
Whatever.
You'll leave that one alone. You can leave that
I
one
watched it.
No, we were playing battleships on our phone.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
We call
Elias-
it that too.
Yeah. Listen, Elias is sounding a lot happier, so let's just put it that way. So,
Yeah.
I would never do such
Yeah.
a thing with my roommate.
no, but
You know, it's funny you mentioned that show because I just put it in my every weekend. I kind of set up for my evenings a show to, if I'm not going to watch it, I'll hop around through it type of thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's in my queue for this upcoming weekend. So I'm
Yeah.
a little nervous about what you have to say for it. I think it's a great feat, and I think the style of it is well, I haven't seen anything like it for a
Yeah.
while. So
Right. And honestly, I have nothing but glowing reviews for it, right? I've been a fan of Vivian's for a very long time. And Elias, I thought that Dairy Queen invite meant something.
It
Oh,
did.
Flint,
Listen,
she's
I'm not
heartbroken.
lying. I'm not. We were
He's
playing
heartbroken.
Battleship.
He's heartbroken. Yeah, I bet you were.
No.
Did
I
you
don't
suck?
like. I don't like the. My roommate is not my type.
Okay, all right. Whatever you say. Anyway, back to the review. So, for
Only if
my
you pay
knowledge, the
whole
first.
rent, maybe.
What was that?
If you pay the whole rent, maybe. But yeah.
Hey.
I mean, we don't know how the rental laws work up in Canada. I mean, Canada. Anyway.
Jeez.
We get very silly here, Brian. I do apologize. So,
hey, no worries.
but yeah, I the first 4 episodes, and apparently there's another one that just came out today that I haven't seen yet, with fan favorite Cherry Bomb, which I'm kind of excited for. Yeah. So every
Yeah.
Thursday.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, it's okay. New
Wait,
episode.
whoa! Cherry Bomb, the pinup character.
I think so. Yeah.
The
One only has one eye, but it's tall.
Yeah, that one.
oh, that one. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
thinking of there's an illustrator who made a whole YouTube channel about drawing a character he calls Cherry Bomb, and it's just it's this blonde cartoon character. Done in sort of like Tinkerbell-esque kind of style, but edgier.
Yeah.
Obviously. So I thought you meant that, but
No,
no, it sounds different. Okay.
just maybe a little more raunchier than even that. But,
Yeah. Probably.
Really?
Oh, Vivian
Yeah.
is pretty much adult.
I'm in for a weekend.
You are.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you are. So here's my review. If you liked Has Been Hotel the pilot, you're gonna love Has Been Hotel the series. It is everything that you could have wanted and more. It is an animated adult Broadway musical. Like think Avenue Q, or think what was that one or like the Book of Mormon, just as an animated show in hell. Like it's the music is spot on, the voice acting is great, the storytelling is really good. I've seen the fabled episode 4. I'm not going to spoil it for Brian's sake, but I will say that there was a lot of controversy about it, obviously, and I think that the way that they told the story was perfect. I do. I don't think that you can cancel if you want. I don't care, but I don't think there was any sort of foul play. And if there was, I think that somebody would have been called out on it much earlier. You know what I mean? So I think she did a good job, and I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the season. And I really like what she's doing, and I applaud her, and I am ready for more.
I need to watch it. So.
Yeah.
I'm not super familiar with her property. What I am very curious about is her journey towards getting it picked up and funded and produced, because what an accomplishment.
Oh yeah, for an indie animation like project, having it picked up.
Dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from any possible corporate meddling, but
Yeah.
that is the dream.
But I think what was really cool was A24 let her do essentially what she wanted with the story. She kept everything. A lot of people were upset that she changed all of the voice actors in the show, right? But here's the thing. If you wanted Keith Davis in the show originally and you had to prove to people that it was good enough, then you do what you got to do, but you cast who you got to cast. And what was super cool was that a lot of the original voice actors ended up getting cameo part, like pilot voice actors got cameo parts in this series. So, I
So
I go ahead.
when she made her deal with the executive producing studio, obviously then she was obligated to hire union actors.
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and this is something a lot of indie people don't think about. We tend to go out and make grand promises to people who will lend their talent and help us out. But I mean, truthfully, you don't know if you're going to be in a position to uphold your promise because of the whoever steps in with the money. They also step in with like the rules kind of
Yeah.
thing, right? So. Yeah,
No, I'm really glad. I'm glad you said that because a lot of the expectations that people have for indie projects when they do finally get picked up in mainstream, right? They, when it's on YouTube, obviously it's the case of rising ship, a rising wave, lifts all boats, right? But when you get a network involved, all of a sudden it's like, well, I know you like this person, but we have a multi-million-dollar deal with this person, and we want them in your show. So, like there you go. That's kind of the deal. So
yeah, and then as a creator, you go home at night and you're like, I can't say no. This is my dream,
Right.
And unfortunately, you have to. There's no right way to really put this, but truthfully, you have to extinguish somebody else's dream who's been part of the ride.
Yeah.
In that situation that you're describing, right?
Right.
And it's unfortunate because you got there because of the help you had along the way, and then when you get there, you're like, oh, I have all these rules now. I'm kind of like Aladdin's genie,
Yeah.
So yeah, I can only imagine her being like ready to sign the deal, and like all those. She probably had to call every single actor, right, and have a heart to heart, and that couldn't have been easy. I feel bad that for all of them that even came to be.
And you don't even the sad part is we don't hear that part as the general public, right? We just hear entire voice cast of Hazbin Hotel replaced with new cast. We don't know who it is, blah blah blah. And we're thinking, the general public's like, why would you do that? Why would you get rid of my favorite person? Why would you do this? You're so mean.
Yeah.
But it's like it's business. Like and honestly,
totally.
Honestly, the people that they chose, a lot of them were from Broadway and from New York and the stage. So I think it kind of was in service to the show because you have actual Broadway people forming an animated Broadway musical. Like win-win.
Yeah. And that's why they did it, right? That marketing right there, that symmetry. That's very powerful. Yeah, there's so much involved. When you're an indie producer of anything, animated, live action, whatever, when you deliver it, when somebody's bought it, like we delivered Ug Wug to a distributor, and that was such a learning experience. And just like she did, there were situations that came up that I found myself feeling uncomfortable with.
Sure.
Because I couldn't just move straight ahead into the next plan, right? You have to follow the marketing windows of whoever bought your property, kind of thing.
Oh, exactly. So. And it's funny you mentioned that because I want to talk about that journey with you a little later after the news. But I will say this: if you the one piece of news that I did remember that I also wanted to bring up was a piece of indie animation news. The pilot cast of Hazbin Hotel actually got a chance to say their final goodbyes to people this past week when a I gotta find it. It's called Thank You and Good Night. It is a music video that was done by Black Griffin. It was released just after we got done with our podcast. It came out, and it features Elsie Lovelock, who is the original singing voice of Charlie, Michael Kovac, who is the original Angel Dust, Crystal Laporte, who was the original Cherry Bomb, Michelle Marie, who is the original Nifty, and Black Griffin was the original singing voice for Alistair. And they put together this really, really poignant, really sweet musical number. And it's basically called Thank You and Good Night, a farewell song from the pilot cast of Has Been Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And it was their final hurrah. And I really loved it. I did kind of tear up a little bit in it because it's just, you know, you don't normally get an opportunity. Like, it's such a unique situation, right? They had gotten it done years ago.
Yeah.
But they, out of respect for Vivian and for the show, they didn't upload it. So now they finally got it out and they got it, in front of people. And thank God they did, because this really was just a great, so long, right? And it's so if you're still a fan of the older cast of the show, go check this music video out. It's really fun. It's a bop. I've had it stuck in my head for a week. It's kind of it's sort of like in a weird way, almost like I don't want to say like a series finale, but almost like a season finale in a way, right? Because a lot of people, just to kind of backtrack a little bit here, a lot of people fell in love with the characters due to what, not necessarily Vivian did with Has Been Hotel, the pilot, but what the production team did with the live streams. They had the show called The Honeycast, and they would have the voice cast come on and interact with the audience and say their favorite lines, or people would ask them to say, "Oh my God, Alistair, say this," or "Angel Dust, call me a bitch," or something like that, and
whoa,
they
language.
would do it. Sorry, it's part of the thing, right? I'll see if I can censor it here. It's like, Alistair, call me a bitch, and there you go. So that's how they got the character's popularity, and because of that, plus the enormous amount of fan animations and fanimatics and just all of this hoopla around the characters and the voices, the fans grew attached to it. So when they were told, because I think you know this better than anyone, Brian, the pilot cast of a show 9 times out of 10 isn't the one that goes into production with you. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep. 100%. And again, mostly because of network, they've got their preferred people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
Yeah, 100%.
So in a way, this is kind of like the pilot season finale.
Yeah.
Where it's like, all right, well, we gotta go. We gotta let these guys come in. We had a fun time with you. Please go love them. Go continue to support the show. Deuces. And they went out with a bang.
That's
right?
very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, I think we got one more piece of news, and Elias, I'll let you take this on while I eat my Frenchity fries, because I'm still hungry.
Was it what I told you earlier?
Yeah, that one.
Okay. So
we don't normally do video games.
Yeah, we don't normally do video games, but this is kind of an interesting story. So the game Pal World came out a little while ago, and a lot of people have been showing a lot of stuff where a lot of the models are like a little bit too close to Pokemon models, and there's been a lot of interest in is Nintendo and the Pokemon Company gonna take action against them, and there does seem to appear that there will be an investigation by Nintendo, and it'll be interesting to see what happens, because there is no fair use in Japan. Like, that's not
Right.
like a thing that they do. And so I'm not familiar with where Pal World is made, but regardless of
I think
that,
it's in
that's
Japan.
why. Is it?
Japan.
Okay. So, well, even more precedent for them to look into
Exactly.
it, because
Right.
if
This
it
is
was-
an international case. This
Yeah.
is a, you know, hey, bro, what are you doing? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, bro.
Like-
You know?
if Pal World had been an American production, I don't think there would have been an investigation, because dealing with that sort of thing internationally is just I'm not sure how that would work. I'm not super familiar with that, but
Right.
yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see what comes of this investigation from Nintendo, and whether or not they decide to go forth and pursue legal action. And if they do decide to pursue legal action, I don't know what's gonna happen to Pal World, because they're not gonna win. They're not. It's like
So
those
you think
Nintendo
it's too
lawyers.
close?
I don't think it's too close. I think that if Nintendo decides to go to court, that they will have the better lawyers because they can afford it. That's
Oh,
kind of
I
what
mean,
I
yeah.
think is,
Well,
because to
yeah.
me, I think that there are definitely some designs that are like really close. They're really close. And there was actually like a monster from one of the trailers that isn't in the game, and I think that that's because it was so close that it was like, we'll just leave that one out. That one's a little bit too on the nose.
Right. You know,
yeah.
I just, you know, my thing is, if the Pokemon Company were going to do anything, they would have done it months ago, right? When they saw everything happening, or they saw the, you know, the trailer. You know, I have not heard about Pal World until maybe Monday of this week, when everything like started to blow up, right? It's been it's insane how much traction this has gotten.
And I get that as well, but I think that at the time, I think Nintendo probably wasn't 100% sure whether or not they could go through with a legal investigation.
I think it's also like a bit of PR.
It may also be PR, but I think that Nintendo started seeing what like all the masses were doing. They were comparing the 3D models and like putting them on top of each other to be like, this is like really close. And
yeah, but a lot of those, they also determined a few of those were fake, right?
A few of them, yeah, but that always happens with this sort of thing. But people ripping the models directly from the game and putting them next to the standard Pokemon models that are ripped from the game and comparing them, I think that there are definitely some things that are a little suspicious. But yeah, I mean, I think it'll be an interesting case to watch, see how it develops, because it could turn into nothing, or it could turn into a
really big something.
A really big something. Yeah. Like, even though I think that, like, if they go to court, they're probably going to lose to Nintendo. I think it'll be an interesting thing to watch.
It's kind of like the case why does Nintendo doesn't shut down emulation games? It's because they know they are not gonna revive those games. And they know that taking them down will only make people angry, so they don't do it.
Yeah, and Nintendo is still not cool with emulation, which is why they're always like, oh, here's the Game Boy on the Switch, here's the N64 on the Switch, so that you can pay money to play these games again.
Right.
When a lot of the games that people want on the emulators are just on the official emulators, I should say, are just not available. It's just like, especially the old Pokemon games. Like, those are the ones that people want the most, because they want to try and have that connectivity with the modern Pokemon games, which is not available for the original cartridges, unless you have, like, seven
Modding
different
tools.
old, not modding tools. You can bring a Pokemon from like Red and Blue all the way up into Pokemon Home now. You just need like a bunch of the games, basically. Like you would
Right.
need to transfer it to Gen 2 from Gen 2. Like if you have it on the digitally, you can put it into Pokemon Box and move that. There's like it's wild, but the thing is that they don't have those original cartridge games on the Nintendo Switch right now.
Right.
And
Well, they had them on the DS or the 3DS for a little while.
yeah, but the thing is that they only had the first two generations. So they had Red, Blue, Yellow,
Right.
and then Gold and Silver and Crystal.
Right. Okay.
Like they haven't done any re-releases of the original Ruby and Sapphire and Emerald, Fire Red,
No,
Leaf
they just-
Green.
Well, they did remakes, you know.
Well, that's the thing. I'm not talking
Yeah.
about remakes. I'm talking about having those original games ported to the Nintendo Switch in order for people to play them on the Switch and have that connectivity to
Sure.
like the main Pokemon hub.
Well, and to that point though, why would they? And I'll make the case here, right? Super Mario RPG just came out not too long ago. For the longest time, like an updated, re-resed, redone,
Yeah.
built from the ground up version of Mario RPG. But for the longest time, we've had the SNES, the Super Nintendo on the Switch online service. People were clamoring for, Super Mario RPG to be put onto there in its original state. They're not going to do that now, because why would they put a free version of a 30-year-old game on their console when there's this brand new shinier version of the game that you could get for $60? You know what I mean? Like, it takes money out of their pocket, and so as long as that game is available on the Switch, which will probably be forever, I don't think we're ever going to see that game in its original version on the online console.
I can
right?
understand where you're coming
It's
from.
kind of like also like the mother games
Right,
that they don't have an official American version, but they don't do it
right.
because
Well,
they're not gonna
yeah.
waste energy doing that when people have already done it. And,
Right.
without.
And they've already
company.
done. Oh, I hate to keep interrupting you there, Tino. I'm sorry. But they've done like the Ruby and Sapphire remakes. They've done the Diamond and Pearl remakes. Heck, they even did, if you want to count Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee as a Fire Red Leaf Green remake.
It technically it's a Pokemon Yellow remake, but yeah.
All right, but still, it's a remake
It's not
of.
the
It is, but the
You know.
the very distinct thing about Pokemon remakes is that aside from the Ruby and Sapphire remakes, most people don't like. They're not good. Like the most recent remakes of Diamond and Pearl are bad.
They're trash,
not
yeah.
good. But I'll say this. I think that Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee is one of the better remakes because the music is wonderful. The game plays well. It's just a matter of people not really enjoying the mechanics in it. And
Because
then
it uses Pokemon Go.
yeah,
was
well
the
that
thing.
was the whole selling point. But aside
Right.
from that, if you play Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee in handheld, it's a great game.
Mhm.
You just don't play it on the TV with that stupid throwing mechanic, and it's fine. But
But if all these years we trained at being a Pokemon trainer, being able to throw our Pokeball out into the battle, and now the opportunity we have to do it, we hate it.
well, that's the thing because there was no wild battles; it was only catching the Pokemon.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
and that's
Yeah.
one of the things that people didn't like about it. But
I mean, let's be
Right.
honest. If Pokemon were like a real thing and we had to throw balls, I will lose most of them.
yeah,
Right. Well, I mean, that's what Pokemon Go did, right? Like, it brought Pokemon into the real world. How many people do we still have watching this, by the way? Have they, like,
know.
abandoned us? 6 people are watching right now.
Yeah.
Okay. We need
okay,
to
let's
step up the game here.
let's
So, anyway,
yeah.
that's...
Anyway,
people
that's
with
the
that
news.
Yeah. If you want to hear more of our Pokemon talk, let us know.
Yeah, I
But
could
in
go
the
on for
meantime-
hours, but
Yeah. That's the
Yeah,
news.
that's
Elias,
the news.
who brings us the news?
The news is brought to us by our good old
Chicken, Shadow
merch
Legends.
store, Fourth Wall, Chucky Chicken Cartoons shop.fourthwall.com. You can
Or
cop-
Chucky Chicken Dog. Sorry.
whatever. But yeah, you can cop yourself some cool swag, and we are also brought to you by our Patreon, and we will
Our
have
amazing supporters here.
yeah, and all of you guys here, you all help
Mhm.
make this thing happen, and
Yes.
Sweat and tears.
yeah, and we
Yeah.
will have some news regarding the Patreon in the next week. So next stream, expect some updates
Yes.
on that. But yeah, if you like what we do, you can go to our shop.
Right. But just to kind of preface the new
Yeah.
news, let's just say that new things are a brewing.
Yes,
We'll just leave it at
things
that.
are a brewing, and
Mhm.
yeah, that's who brings us the news.
Thank you. Alrighty. Well, I'll tell you what, folks. We're gonna take a really quick, short break just to kind of get ourselves back in order. But when we come back, Brian Finlay, and we're gonna talk a little bit more with him and learn about his career and his recent success with the Ug Wug, and learn a little bit of what it takes to really get your stuff in front of a big audience and on
Yeah.
TV. So don't go away, folks. We'll be right back.
What kind of film department are you running down there, Fox?
Oh, come on. I just bought there.
We need a clean slate.
I want you all to meet Chucky Chicken.
I'm starting to think that maybe what it takes to be a famous director just isn't in me after all.
Hey,
And,
Chucky.
I'm rambling a bit, aren't I? Here we go. Well, good night.
Wait, what are you doing? Don't touch that! No! Stop it!
This is ridiculous. I ain't washed up yet. It's gonna take a lot more than that to get rid of Freddy.
Cheese and crackers. What are you putting in this water, kid?
Soap?
Soap and water. Like a clean soup. I love it.
Oh.
Keep up the great work, kid.
Ooh.
Attention, everyone. I want you all to meet Chucky Chicken.
We already know Chucky, Miss Chelsea.
We sure do. Fair Duncan best janitor this side of the reefer. Righteous.
Oh, right. Well, you may have known him as the janitor, but now...
Oh, Chuck! You ain't leaving, is you? You was me best mate!
I thought I was your best mate.
No! He's the new co-director.
Oh, well,
Okay.
now I'm just embarrassed.
I always thought he was some kind of rat.
Lovely.
Thanks for the fanfare. Hi, kids. Chucky Chicken here. Remember, when you're trick-or-treating, be sure that you only go to neighborhoods and areas that you know really, really well. Mary, Emma.
You were right, Chucky. These Halloween traditions are so much fun. I'm so glad I get to experience them for the first time. Especially with you.
Aw. I'm all too happy to celebrate with you, Chelsea. Why don't we take a picture to commemorate the evening? Chelsea, it's getting awful late. Why don't we head for home?
Oh, Chucky, just one more house, please.
Oh, What the hey? One more won't be the death of me.
Oh, good. Because there's the house right there.
The old Grayson Manor! Chelsea, isn't there any other place we could go?
It's the only house in town we haven't been to yet. You're not afraid, are you? Well, this is just perfect. The weatherman said nothing about it raining.
Yeah, he did. He said around midnight it was supposed to rain cats and dogs.
I don't see any cats or dogs.
It's an expression.
Whatever. Just rap on the door.
You rap on the door. Well, nobody's there. Time to head back.
Wait, Chucky, look.
Chelsea, I've got a bad feeling about this.
Oh, come on, Chucky. I doubt we are in any real danger.
If you say so.
Good evening.
Very funny, Chucky.
What?
Don't play games with me, Chucky Chicken. I know it was you who said...
Good evening.
Who said that?
That was not you.
Welcome, fowlish mortals, to Grayson Manor. I am your host, your ghost host. Kindly step this way. We seldom have visitors, and there is much to see in this delightfully dilapidated place.
Thanks anyway, but we gotta get going home.
I'm afraid there's no turning back now.
Huh?
Do not be frightened prematurely. You shall not be harmed, but you also shall not leave without a proper tour of our home. Now, let us begin.
Wonderful! This is most exciting. Come on, Chucky.
As you can see, the residents of this ghostly estate have been cooped up for centuries and have been dying for company.
Chucky, isn't this place exciting?
No!
Chucky?
Okay. I think we're safe here.
Chucky, these ghosts seem nice and fun. I think they enjoy haunting this place.
Oh, yes. You can say we grim green ghosts love to come out and socialize.
Yay! Ah, we're on our way out now!
Ah! Ugh.
Whoops. What do you want? Hey, what do you know? Candy!
See? I told you this place isn't so scary.
I guess you're right. Thanks, Chelsea.
And
Hello.
And we're back.
We're back, everybody.
Hello. So, we are here with our very good friend, Brian Finlay. And just to kind of rattle off a couple of his credits here. I have to Google you to make sure that I get them right. He is the founder and oh my gosh, hang on. Give me a... Here we go. Oh, wow. He is the founder and one of the lead directors over at Drawn to It Studios. He has worked with a number of different companies. He is a former Disney animator. He has worked on projects including Club Penguin. He's also done his own original series, Mimsy and Dusty. He's also done things such a lot of really cool stuff. He's just incredible. He has his own comic strip that he's done. He also has a plethora of different concepts, stories, ideas. He's just a heck of an animator. And he's based in Canada, over in New Brunswick. And last summer, he has done. He's recently done stuff for the Conservation Council of New Brunswick. He's also he's known now for his very successful series, the Ug Wug. And Brian, you're a very dear friend to me. I've known you now, I think, at this point for about 3 years, which is insane.
Crazy, eh?
I know, it's insane. So, for the folks at home who are either beginning their animation journey, or are kind of on the fence of what they want to do, tell us how you got started. Like, how did you get to Disney, or how did you what was your plan? Lay it on us.
I mean, okay, the boring story starts out 5-year-old me on my great aunt's floor in Montreal watching Mickey Mouse shorts and Disney shorts in general. And then Ferdinand the Bull came on, and I turned around to my mother and I said, I want to do that. I didn't know what that meant, right? I just said, I want to do that. And then as I grew up, I sort of morphed into wanting, I would bounce back and forth between wanting to be an artist and a Jim Henson puppeteer.
Both good choices.
Yeah, animatronics were, I mean, when the show Dinosaurs came out on TV, I was I was fanatical about it, because I would pause it and look at the suits and how the wrinkles would, it was crazy.
And that was a fantastic show, by the way.
Yeah, so good. And I went, I talked to my guidance counselor in grade 12, and he said, listen, I love that you want to do these things, but they are outside of what I know how to guide you in. He said, the only thing I can recommend is maybe graphic design, maybe. And I'm like, okay, well, that doesn't sound encouraging. Yeah. So, and meanwhile, I'm living in the Maritimes, which is as far away from these types of opportunities as you can get, right? I'm just a trailer park kid in the Maritimes. These things happen to like people who live in California and within a comfortable radius of what's happening, right?
Yeah.
So but what ended up happening was I was at my grandmother's, and she threw the newspaper at me, and she said, you might get a kick out of this. And I picked up the newspaper, and there was an article about a New Brunswick is the province I live in. A New Brunswick animator named Ricky Knowles had just signed a 5-year contract with Disney Feature Animation. He was a Sheridan alumni. So he went from Sheridan to Disney, which was quite common back in the day. In the later 90s, that kind of came to a stop. But anyway, that got me all excited. I'm like, there's no way somebody from my same province got this opportunity. How do I do that? So in my mind, that meant, well, I have to start a t-shirt company and offer people cartoons and on their t-shirts, and that's my path to Disney, which it wasn't, obviously. And
thank God.
Yeah. So that did horribly. Of course it did. And then I want to say another few months later, Same thing again. I'm at my grandmother's. I lived with her during my last year of high school, and she threw the paper at me, and she said, "You might find this interesting." And inside the paper was like an ad for our community college further north in Miramichi. They were going to start offering a 2D animation and graphics technology course. And I just like, what? No way. So I think I applied the next day, got my portfolio together. My uncle, he applied too, because he was one of my first mentors. And because he was a cartoonist when I was a little kid, and I'd go visit him, and there'd be like all these like Robert Crumb type drawings all over the place, right? And so we ended up getting in, and then from there I ended up going to Sheridan. I kind of allowed my ego to get the better of me, which wouldn't be the first time I did that, but I got caught up in the politics of the students who were making a big fuss about the college isn't being run right. We're not going to get jobs out of here, blah, blah, blah. When all I had to do was keep my butt in my seat and draw and animate. That's all I had to do. But at the time I felt, I've got to go to Sheridan. So I spent a week. I didn't go to any classes, spent a week with a couple other friends. We put together portfolios, and I was helping them on their portfolios because I had a better knack for character stuff, and they had a better knack for like layout kind of stuff. So it was a good swap back and forth. And then I remember coming home on a Friday and telling my girlfriend, who is my wife now, and I said to her, I said, I'm going to Ontario tonight, which is like a 13-hour drive. I'm like, I'm going to apply to Sheridan, and if I get in, I'm going. And she's like, what? Like, I don't even think I came home and said hi. Just like opened the door. I'm like, I'm doing this. I told you from day one, my career comes first. Disney, dream come true, dream chase, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, she followed me.
That's a
keeper.
Yeah. I got rejected from Sheridan at first, which really bugged me because I had helped my two friends who got in so much on their character stuff for their portfolio. I felt like, geez, but the application to get into Sheridan was no joke. It was this. There was they brought us outside. There was hundreds of people.
Oh wow!
Trying to get into the animation program, and it was a day of drawing tests, life drawing, character sketching, and it was like a day-long panic attack.
Wow!
And I would turn, like, all of us at some point broke into tears at some point during the day. It was so stressful. And then I didn't get in. So I thought, well, I'm going back to, trailer park. And I guess I'll pick up a trade. I don't know. And which is fine. That's what most of my family does. Yeah. I'm just a little bit too ADHD for that.
Right.
So like if I was welding something, I'd be like squirrel and put a bead right across something I wasn't supposed to,
Right.
So anyway, I went to the apartment, wallowed for a bit, and cried all day, cried all night. The following day, the receptionist from Sheridan called me up and offered me a spot. She had remembered me because every day I'd go in like an idiot. I'd be like, any news? Do you have the list? Yeah. And she'd be like, hi, Brian, good to see you again. I'm like, yeah, but do you have the list? Oh, anyway, I'm here now. So do you want me to get you a coffee? I was just like energetically polite to her.
Right.
So there was an exchange, or not exchange, out of what did they call them? I don't know, a foreign student basically
foreign
had,
exchange.
yeah. So they had a spot and then they ditched, and so I got the spot. And
Wow.
so that was cool. I ended up after all at Sheridan, and it was tough, man. Cool. That's where I really learned what imposter syndrome was, because I was surrounded, being from New Brunswick, and where I'm from in New Brunswick, I'm not used to the world. You know what I mean? Like, I know the people on like 15 streets surrounding me, but that was it. So when I got there, even in Miramichi, it was very local, you know. When I got there are people there from like Germany and whatever who had studied with this master and that, you know, and I'm just like, oh my God, I shouldn't be here. I should not be here at all. And that's where I learned about imposter syndrome, which is the exact same feeling I felt on my first day at Disney. But how I got to Disney, fast forward through all the college stuff, my first job was doing backgrounds and then doing some digital animation. I've never worked in a studio where I did paper animation, with the exception of Disney. I did a Disney wand ID for the Disney Channel for the Club Penguin brand.
That's pretty cool.
I did that on paper, and I had to special, like, I asked. There was no reason for me to do it on paper. I just wanted to. And they let me. I brought in my portable table, and at the time I had a 16 field animation disc, and I got a stack of papers that they bought for me. Nice. I built a pencil tester, right, with my laptop and stuff. It was pretty cool. And a lot of the animators around there hadn't ever animated on paper before, so they would be coming up to me and being like, how does that work? Because I'd be like in between flipping, which is a different type of flipping than like progressional flipping, right? They're like, what are you doing? And it was pretty neat. But what got me to apply to Disney, after a bunch of years working on most of my career, I've worked on projects that have never seen the light of day. So the exact opposite of what like James Lopez or Aaron Blaze, like these big, impressive, super talented juggernauts have worked on these massive commercial successes. My career is full of independently produced video games that never got past 70% completion.
Wow.
Or
that sounds about right for a lot of video games.
Yeah, which I didn't mind at the time, because ironically they paid very well, and they were always U.S. clients.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
you get those USD when you're in Canada. That's huge.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. So you know where I'm coming from.
Oh
right?
yeah, I know exactly where you're coming from.
So I dug it, and it didn't even bother me that stuff didn't see the light of day until a few years of that went by. I realized legally I couldn't show any of it, and I couldn't really talk about it, and I had nothing to really show for, like, I don't know, for 6-7 years worth of work.
Yeah, like there wasn't anything you could put on your portfolio and all that.
Not really.
I think a lot of people are a lot more cognizant of that now, so they'll make sure, just like, hey, listen, whether or not this happens, can I put this on my portfolio? Because I know that there's a lot of contracts where they will let you do that, but there's a lot where they still are just like, no, you can't talk about anything, you can't put it on your portfolio. If it doesn't get released, then you're SOL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I go ahead.
Oh no, I was about to say, like, that's something that I love about indie animation, because it's kind of a given at that point where it's like, yeah, put it in your portfolio, put it in your demo reel. But a lot of the corporate gigs are like, no, we own those, so yeah, you can't do that, which is such a disservice. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So I had sort of gotten in my mind that I was going to try to make my own game. That led to building up a little bit of a portfolio of stuff I could show. And we had moved right at the point that I was feeling the most jaded by the industry, and I was ready to leave. This is back 2009. No, 2000, late 2010. I was ready to be done with it. And my sister had just gotten engaged, and she called me up and she said, I have a wedding request. And I'm like, I'm not drawing you a picture.
Yeah, oh god, what a feeling.
I still ended up drawing her a picture, but
of course you did.
No,
you're
but
just a nice guy.
No, I hate drawing for family and friends.
I totally feel that.
Yeah, because all you ever get is, oh, cool, but you know what you should have done, or it's just never good enough.
Yeah.
So
why
anyway,
does it
she
look
was
like
on phone.
that?
Right. Yeah. I'm like, well, now they can go to AI. I send them all to AI. Go to AI. So
right.
So
no,
my sister
I will never send it. Sorry, I before you say that, I will never send anyone to do AI because I despise that so much. But anyway, go ahead.
I'm not big on it either, but it is a fact of life now. So I'm not gonna rally against it. I'm gonna figure out how to incorporate it into a realistic workflow because it's gonna be part of production. Across the board. On we're not there yet, but it's coming, and it's coming real fast.
And I think that
I mean, if AI could make repeat my lines, and so I'll have to do a sketch, that would be
yeah. And I think for me personally, I don't have an issue with AI in itself. I have an issue with using algorithms to use other people's work that you are not paying for in order to build your algorithm. That's what I'm not for.
100%.
I think if you're using other people's work, especially artists, they should get some kind of payment or an opportunity to be like, hey, if we pay you whatever monthly, can we use your art in our algorithm? And I think that would be fine. If you have permission from all the people, or if you're using all of your own assets and making the AI, I don't have a problem with that. I think that that's perfectly reasonable. But that's kind of the issue I think that's inherent in artistic AI at the moment, is that all of them are just using artwork that they do not own, nor have they asked permission to use.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
So, but anyway, your sister...
I will just sorry.
It's okay.
I was just training AI with my own artwork so it can replicate my own artwork.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We're not far off.
We're not far off.
Yeah. But
imagine all the art I could do if I should have to just sketch.
Right.
You'd be like, "Hey Alexa, make
my line."
Yeah, finish my client's work for me in my style. Thank you.
I'm finishing it right now.
Yeah.
Is there any specifications you'd like?
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, my sister called me up. She's like, I know what I want for a wedding present. I'm like, okay, what do you want? Because I'm broke. And she's like, well, this is free. I'm like, oh, I like that. Okay, you got it. She's like, really? I'm like, yep, you got it. She goes, okay, cool. I want you to apply to Disney. I'm like, oh, you got no idea.
You evil person.
First of all, my portfolio's not even anywhere near ready. What am I gonna wear? Second of all, right?
I know the suit for your wedding. You want me to do this for Disney? What? Anyway.
Right. So anyway, she lived in Kelowna, BC, and Disney at the time was running one of its big interactive IPs out of there called Club Penguin, and they were hiring. So I thought, okay, well, if I apply, does it count, and will it shut you up? And she's like, yes. And she goes, I love you. I'm like, great, love you too. I'm gonna apply now, and that'll shut you up, right? Yep. Okay, good. So I applied, and that was involved. Like Disney,
Oh yeah.
if you've ever applied, they have like a database. It's almost like you fill out a whole profile. You can keep checking it and adding to it and editing it. It's pretty cool actually, but it takes a while to set up. Anyway, I applied and I forgot about it. I didn't spend one more second worrying about it. As a matter of fact, the evening of the night I applied, I went to my aunt's for a barbecue, and my uncle was there who had taken the animation course with me years before. He was asking me about my plans, and I told him about the Disney thing, and he slapped me on the shoulder, and that kind of like, the listen, he looks at me, he goes, do you really think that's gonna happen? And it just like it burned me. Like I was ready to quit, right?
Family
Totally
has such a
ready to
knack
quit.
for like doing that.
Wow,
Do
thanks.
they ever?
And just he said that, and when I tell you, I went home and I drew deep into the night, like just drew and drew and drew and drew, and
I will show you.
Exactly.
yeah, it was kind of like that. Like it was very much
How dare
There'll
Yeah.
be so much inside that you won't be able to see me.
Yeah.
yeah. So, but the following day, the weight of my sort of disdain for the industry had, come back, and I'm like, yeah, he's right, whatever. So I went outside and I started doing yard work outside, and came in for a quick beer and checked the emails, and I had an email from the recruiter, and I misread it. I thought the email was offering me the job. So I start running around the house like, I don't believe this is happening. And my wife's like, what's happening? I'm like, something. I got an email from Disney saying I got a job. I don't know, right? And she's like, okay, calm down. I'm like, no, you don't understand.
Yeah.
So, but it turned out they weren't offering me the job. They were offering me the chance to essentially compete for the job. So what it took place in the 8 weeks after that was like an American Idol for animators, and there were
And I will allow you to fight for it.
You get in the ring.
Yeah. There were
Some
drawing
animators in
tests.
the ring and see who's alive at the end of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Last man
Thunderdome.
standing.
Yeah.
It was totally
Perform
Thunderdome.
for me, and I will let thee.
I will let thee work on Club
Yeah.
Penguin.
Yeah.
So
So
for my amusement, slaves.
Was that the Disney studio down in Quebec or?
no, in Kelowna, BC.
Yeah, that's actually my parents were like, you should apply there, and I'm like, they don't. They're doing website stuff. I don't know website
Oh,
stuff.
that's what I
Destroy
thought
me.
too.
Yeah.
That's what I thought too, and I quickly learned my lesson when I got there. So basically 8 weeks of doing drawing tests and interviews and follow-up interviews, and every week you'd be told, okay, you've made it through to the next short list. And at one point the recruiter told me there were
Oh, that would be
150
nerve-wracking
people.
for me.
I'm sorry. Did you say
Yeah.
8
Oh, yeah.
weeks? 8?
Yeah, it was like 6 to 8 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
'cause-
My
'cause you would-
anxiety will destroy me in the first week.
yeah.
My lord.
Yeah, and I suffer from anxiety and depression, so like my whole life. So this was not easy to
Yeah.
handle for sure. But so I kept making it to the next shortlist. Then there came a time when the shortlist had been whittled down to we had to do a 1-minute animation test. And the first one we had to do, I kid you not, the recruiter gave us 24 hours. And we had to come up with 1 minute of cleaned up painted animation with the characters.
That's
The penguin and the puffle, and submit it by 8 a.m. the following morning. So it was issued to us at like 8 or 9 a.m.
Do you remember
the
what
day
you did
before.
for your test?
Yeah, it was awful, but the story was cute. Because I had a full breakdown, by the way. I've never sweat so much in an air-conditioned room just drawing. And this is before I'd put on most of the weight. Like I was just
back
freaking
when sweating
out.
meant something.
Back when
Yeah.
sweating meant something. That's right.
He put
And,
the sweat and blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah. So I did a little story with the penguin was flying a kite, and a big gust of wind came and takes the kite too hard, causing the penguin to fall flat on his face, and the kite falls, and the puffle looks like sympathetically at the penguin, looks at the kite, nudges the kite back over to the penguin, and urges the penguin to try again, kind of thing. And that was it. And I'm like, I don't know what you want with 24 hours and 1 minute and cleaned up and painted. By the way, it looked like an e-card. Okay.
Oh no.
Because, well, I had no time.
Yeah,
right?
no,
Like,
yeah,
there-
maybe
Right,
24
Denise,
hours.
what do you want from
Yeah.
me?
Yeah. So anyway, the studio took pity on us, and we found out that the recruiter had misunderstood the test instructions, and during my final interview, I found out we should never have been given that test. It was a misunderstanding. So what ended up happening was another 1 minute test.
Oh.
And this time we had a week to do
Okay.
it,
That
and we were
seems
allowed to
more
keep it.
reasonable.
We were. Oh, I wonder if I have it on any of my hard drives here.
Please tell me you gave a big gut check to the person who made you do that 1 minute in a day.
I don't remember any of us being happy about it. But I mean, we did it because we were all of the breed of, like, every one of us. Well, the people I talked to anyway, because I ended up meeting some of the people that I was up against further down the road. They ended up being hired anyway, just later. And we were all of that breed, that childhood dream of working for Disney, right?
Right.
So it was like we wore it as a badge of honor kind of thing that we
That's super
got there,
cool.
you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, we did the second test, the rough. We were allowed to use all rough animation, no cleanup,
Oh,
and we had to
good,
tell
yeah.
a story, and had to be all done in Flash because they were seeing if we could use Flash. Now, I thought they did like just kind of flat web work, okay? And when I got there, every artist there was feature film level.
Oh wow! On Flash?
Now, Flash doesn't properly translate the talent level that goes into it at one end. It doesn't properly spit it out. Okay,
Yeah.
there are
Right,
so
I
many
was about to say,
limitations.
Yeah,
Right.
Flash, I would say, even especially at the time, it was very limited, and which was super weird that it was so limited, and yet there were so many like actual productions using it, especially like back with Mucha Lucha when it wasn't even a proper animation software; it was for web development.
And even like Timo Supremo and other shows like that. But anyway.
Yeah. So when I got there, the imposter syndrome hit big time, because I thought I'd be walking into a bunch of, like, I don't know, just their talent not necessarily properly. I don't know. I thought I might maybe this might be like I'd be one of the cool kids or something, right? I
Yeah.
told you I let my ego get the better of me far too often earlier in my career. And when I got there, I was thankfully humbled by when I walked in, the talent level that was there. Any one of those artists could have been in the feature department. I had to catch up to them big time. And I took it on as like a daily mission to change the way I receive feedback. One of the first things I noticed about working at Disney was my supervisor, Neil. He was so good at receiving feedback. He never got ruffled by it. And I'm like, how do you do that? Because I'm so damn sensitive. How do you? And I would watch him, and I would try to incorporate that part of him. And then another artist I worked beside, she was so good at the concept story stuff, and I would try to, through osmosis, I would try to take in the best of the people around me, because I didn't know how long I was going to be there.
Yeah.
I felt every day I was there I was going to get fired.
Oh, geez.
Up until that changed. One day, my producer came up to me and she said, "Brian, do you have a passport?" And I said, "No, I don't." I said, "But I can get one. Why?" And she goes, "We're going down to the lot, and I want you to come because we're going for a storyboard session." And by that point, I was kind of becoming one of 2 or 3 people there known for storyboarding. And so I was like, oh my God. And first of all, I'm like, the lot, I have no idea what that means. To me, you say the lot, I think of where you put your trailer.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, no, this is the Burbank. Yeah, the Burbank studio lot.
I had no idea. So what ended up happening, we had hired a third, Disney had hired a third-party studio to handle the bulk of the workload for these worldwide television commercials we were making. I wasn't on the video game team. I was on the marketing team. I was an animator for the marketing team working on broadcast stuff. So our level of detail was very different from what was in game. We were doing full shading and, to the best that Flash allowed for.
In a lot of ways, it looked better than what was even in the game at that point.
Yeah, well, that was the whole point. We needed people to come and, check the game out, right, from other countries. Right. And the commercials, we did all kinds. Anyway, we go down there, and my efforts were well received, and I felt like I helped, and in not ego way, but like I felt like maybe how a band might feel when you're jamming in a garage, and at the end of a night you've written 3 songs, and you're all looking at each other like, how did we just do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like that type of energy between.
Yeah, it was like magic almost.
Yeah. So anyway, as a reward, and this, I had never been to Disney World before. My parents had gone many times and always left me at home. So our producer took us to Disneyland as a reward for what we had accomplished. And because we had finalized the storyboards for the next short. And everybody was happy. The Disney executives were happy. Bob Iger was happy with it. So we were all like, we got big thumbs up. So she took us to Disneyland. And I don't know if a lot of men cry because they go to Disneyland, but it was emotional for me.
I did cry, actually.
Yeah.
I am not. Yeah, I did. Anyway, no,
Yeah.
because it's really it's a special place, right? And I went there, as everyone knows, because I won't stop talking about it. I was there this past June for my birthday, and as soon as I got onto Main Street USA, and I realized, wow, I'm actually here, like Niagara Falls, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's just that special of a place that it makes
I
you
hear
just
you.
Yeah.
fall like a baby when you get there, and you're like, I can't believe I'm actually on Main Street. I'm so happy.
Yeah, I had that moment. I had the fat guy version of that moment that they would put in like a National Lampoon movie, because
Oh
she
yeah.
had taken us to this restaurant at the bottom of the hill, near the little roundabout there, Michael. I forget what the restaurant is called. You can get like roast beef and fried chicken and all this stuff at it. So
Okay.
so we got supper. We went outside to sit and eat, and it was a big table of us, right? All of us had this food that none of us had to pay for because it went on the company card, and I got fried chicken, of course, big fat guy. So I pick up my chicken. This is everything I'm about to tell you is how it happened. I pick up my chicken. I take a moment to look at it, thinking, wow, this is like real fried chicken, not soggy, falling off KFC garbage, right?
Yeah.
So I pick it up. As soon as I take a bite and you hear the crunch of the bread, this is fat guy moment. I'm already like in my mouth is like happy. Fireworks start going off by the castle at that exact moment. And I sat there with this piece of chicken in my mouth for what must have been 5 minutes straight, just staring at fireworks. A fireworks show like I had never seen before. And then my supervisor, Neil, leans over and goes, Are you gonna take a bite? Or and I'm like, what?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that chicken.
Oh crap! Yeah, you're right. I do have this chicken.
Yeah, so I put the chicken down. I'm like, God, that was embarrassing, right? And then I'm watching the fireworks, and then it starts snowing, which boggled my mind. I'm like, how are they doing this?
Oh, because you went around Christmas time.
Yeah, it was about January, I think, when we went.
Okay.
And then my producer, she says, let's go for a walk. We don't have a lot of time, but let's go hit Pirates of the Caribbean. And there's something else I'm hoping we can check out. So I'm like, whatever. I'm just happy to be here. So off we go. We do the Pirates ride, and then she's like, okay, we're just gonna stand here. And all of a sudden, Mickey's Fantasmic starts going.
Yeah.
Oh, so cool.
Oh my God, that blew me away like nothing. And the whole time I'm standing there, I'm in a weird, awkward position, because everybody that's here right now, the majority, paid a lot of money to get here, right? And they're here. I work for Disney, and then I started to cry because I was thinking, I wish my mom was here with me to see this moment, because it's a big deal, because I've always separated Disney into like there's Major League Disney, which is like Disney feature and you know, Aaron Blaze and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then there's like Disney kind of has like different avenues that people don't think about. But what I learned working there was, just because it says Disney Interactive, the artist you're working with they still like weed through people with the same level of like they're trying to get the best of the best.
Yeah.
And if you're somehow able to slip through the cracks like I did, because you don't exactly match up to their standard, then like that's why I say when I got there, I made it my mission to like, okay, I'm here today. What can I learn today?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know if I'd be there tomorrow, because I always thought, oh, they're going to find out they screwed up, right? and they're gonna ship me back home, because in my mind, compared to all these other great artists I was working around, I mean, I felt so inadequate. But over time, they were all such nice people, and so giving and sharing with their knowledge. And over time, I kind of found my spot, and you know, it was just great. That was my experience. Disney was a wonderful thing for me. I got to go to the lot a few times. I've been inside the Disney vault, almost broke it.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't tell you that?
No, I don't think you've ever told me this story. How did you almost break the Disney vault?
Okay, so yeah. So our producer got us a tour of the Disney vault. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
There
it's a real
actually is a
thing.
Disney vault. There's
Yeah.
a real... Okay.
Yeah.
They weren't just saying that when they made the commercials. It was we're opening the vault and putting out whatever 50th anniversary or silver whatever.
Totally a real thing.
Yeah.
And they've got all the artwork from everything they've done that they've been able to claw back, because for so long they were giving it away and whatever, right? They didn't respect their own art. And then they went
if
into...
you ever disappear, we'll know that Disney is the cause.
We'll know the Disney ninjas got you.
Well, people are aware of the vault because there's been a few videos put out very recently with the guy who is like the steward of the vault, as like a host kind of thing.
Oh, the archives, the Disney archives.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he got mad at me because he was the one giving us the tour, and they had all of these paintings from Sleeping Beauty hanging in these long glass frames from the ceiling. Chains. They were on chains. Like, it looked like a slaughterhouse for animation artwork.
Oh,
You
no.
know? Yeah, it was
so
really weird.
Oddly appropriate, though. It's just like, whoa.
And I ended up, I lost balance somehow, and I backed right into one of them, causing a whole domino effect that went all the way down. All you heard was bang, 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 bang. And then it came bang, bang. Because if you've ever dropped those balls, right, the pendulum balls, right, and until the energy dissipates, the wave keeps going back and forth, right?
Right.
And it must have went on for like 3-4 minutes of the longest. Of my producer staring at me with her hand over her mouth. My supervisor Neil is just like laughing at me, like, because like he knew me well enough. Like and the guy giving us a tour, he wasn't looking at me very good. Right?
He wasn't too happy.
He was mean, that's for sure.
Yeah. If I remember right, I think our tour might have got cut a little short. we ended up outside of the vault looking at other stuff that was still super cool. They had found a bunch of the animation scenes from the morgue, and they were scanning them ultra high res into this database they had, where any feature film animator can go into this like Google type program and type in a scene number in a movie, and all these pencil tests come up that they can watch.
Oh, that's so cool.
And
we need that.
Yeah. they could go frame by frame through it, but
I'll be all day there.
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
they took us out. He took us out rather quickly into this room where they were doing that. And the girl was scanning a Frank Thomas scene of Captain Hook.
Oh,
and,
that's so cool.
And she was wearing gloves and using tweezers, they were being that delicate with it, right? All I wanted to do was grab it and flip it, you know?
I could get such a better feel of this if you would just let me flip through it.
Oh, it's like Frank just touched it yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's like I can smell him.
Inner demons are telling me to eat this frame.
Oh, the pencil shavings. I love it. Oh my gosh. That'd be me. 100%.
Oh yeah,
me.
that's you know, I would hope to get some kind of eraser shavings or something. But yeah, and you know, it was just interesting. I think part of why I always felt like I was going to get fired is because of that thing I talked about before, where so much of what I had done in the industry was like it was in a black void, like you know, so I didn't have a lot to show compared to other people who had been in it for the same amount of time as me, people I went to school with, and they had like, you know, 20, 30 television shows on their resume, you know?
Yeah, well, it just goes to show that, like, because a lot of us, you know, we haven't worked on any professional shows, like, and we're doing okay. Like,
yeah, and I think it's important for people to know that there are other roads you can take other than pursuing that you know, whatever you perceive to be the ultimate road.
Yeah.
Because fast forward a whole bunch, I eventually ended up on the 3D team at Disney and got trained in animating in 3D. I love that. But during that time, I started to hear a lot of rumors. There were a lot of big management changes. And so I started kind of seeing the
writing on the wall, right?
The writing on the wall, yeah. So I applied for a job doing storyboards with Braun Studios in Vancouver. They did the Joker movies, right? And a bunch of others, but they're like the big, probably one of their biggest anyway.
Yeah, there's a bunch of studios out here, so kind of hard to tell them apart at some points.
Yeah. So anyway, they were doing animated 3D animated movie called Henchmen, and their early proof of concept pilot, which was really a trailer, looked so amazing. Like everybody who saw it wanted to work on it.
Oh wow.
And so I ended up getting hired there. So moved the family to Vancouver from Kelowna, which is not as bad as moving from
Kelowna
New
is
Brunswick. So,
yeah, my mom lives in Kelowna and I'm in the lower mainland, so I get that.
So and I think we even moved during a time that the Coquihalla was like very peaceful drive, you know. So anyway, I had always said my plan when I was applying to other studios, my plan was I want to go away, learn new kung fu, and then come back to Disney feature. And that was sort of my strategy. Take advantage of the Vancouver animation scene, learn some new kung fu, and then apply and maybe get hired in LA. But what ended up happening is, working on Henchmen, I discovered that my ultimate dream of reaching feature film animation, I was senior storyboard artist on the movie. My ultimate dream of reaching that level, I realized I don't want anything to do with this. Like the stress of it, the you know, working with directors that don't that don't care what their story people have to say.
Yeah.
And you know, like it was so just
yeah, kind of like a weird reality check in a way. It's just like, this is what that is like.
Yeah. I don't
and
want nothing to do with that. That's terrible.
Yeah. So I went from that. And then I worked at Kickstart Entertainment for a bit on a 3D television show, and but I still wasn't fully over the burnout from working at Braun. So I kind of had like a breakdown, during one of my shifts, and had to be rushed to the hospital and all that. I thought I was having a heart attack. Turned out to be a panic attack. Up until that point, I had never had a full panic attack like that. Like I thought I was dying.
Oh wow.
And I had to get put out of work for quite a while, actually. And then we ended up, the cost of living out there. I ended up.
It sucks.
Yeah.
I'll tell everybody it sucks. It's not
It's
good.
not much better here now.
Oh no, really?
But I think I told Mike about this before, but I ended up going from working on those cool companies to working for a former porn producer who decided on a whim, it seemed, to go from producing porn to making baby videos for YouTube.
You know what? Both are very lucrative options.
Yeah.
Because especially baby sensory videos on YouTube.
You will never run out of children, and you will never run out of addicts.
You know, and in a weird way, they both coincide because one makes babies and the other one entertains them. You know, just say it.
Well, the guy's name was Angel.
Win-win.
That was his name.
Like legally?
I think so. And the YouTube channel is called Little Angel or something like that. It's still up. They're making all kinds of money.
Wow.
But he hired myself, and I was able to get one of my Disney cohorts to buy into it with me, and the two of us made a bunch of very limited animations. We had 2 weeks to do 3 minutes from script to screen.
Wow.
So we had to figure out a formula, and we did, and we did one of the very first, if not the very first, animated Baby Shark video.
Wow, really? That's crazy.
Yeah. So I really hate that song.
So it's your fault.
No, it's Angel's fault.
It's true. Yeah. Listen,
oh my gosh.
Brian isn't the messenger.
Get him.
Brian is the delivery boy, okay?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So, it was interesting, and then after that we decided to move back to New Brunswick because we want our kids to be closer to family and the cost of living, and then we end up moving out here only to have a housing crisis and rent go up to what we were paying in Vancouver. So
that's
it
wild.
Didn't really matter, except here for some reason in New Brunswick, not Nova Scotia, not PEI, not even Newfoundland. In New Brunswick, it is almost impossible to get animation remote work and or contracts. Like the companies in the province, they're not looking to have animation done as part of their marketing. They're not looking. They're very, very, very conservative approach to everything, and I have found it incredibly difficult to get remote work if you're outside of the province because of tax credits, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's a similar thing out here where that's why a lot of the people who I went to school with, like it was like 95% like foreign people coming to my school, and so unless they were able to get hired, they weren't able to stay. But the thing is that a lot of the studios in Vancouver, they have an incentive to hire people from BC because they'll get a tax credit of some sort.
Right.
So it kind of it's a weird situation, but it's interesting to hear that it's even more so kind of limited over in New Brunswick. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and that might be just my perspective on it, because I do tend to get a little frustrated with things like that. But yeah, it's been tough. But ultimately, there's been a few things here and there that I've been able to work on. I've reached out, reconnected with old friends, old colleagues. Did work for somebody I went to college with. Still is running his own animation studio in Miramichi, and he gave me some contract work after we moved back, and I was super grateful for that. And because back in the college we didn't necessarily get along, right? And in our older age, we were able to squash anything and just be like, man, life is tough. And he's like, I hear you, brother. It's not easy. I'm like, well, listen, if there's anything I can do, I'm looking. And he was so gracious. So yeah, Lugaroo Studios definitely gave me handout work when I was looking for it. And so that was super cool. And I've been most recently, in terms of animation, we got hired by our province to create a animated music video. I wish I could premiere it here, but I can't. It's not being premiered until another 2.5 weeks. So it was a interesting contract, and a lot of kids singing, which at 3 a.m. in the morning when you're working isn't what you're looking to listen to.
Yeah.
But you have to gotta make it work. And I've been doing some pretty cool stuff with Cartoon Conrad too in Nova Scotia.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, but other than that, I'm always looking for the next thing. And we did, as Michael brought up earlier, we did produce an independent film. Our company, Drawn to It Studios, is a very tiny production company. I basically started it so I could pass on filming knowledge to my kids, and in front of and behind the camera, kind of anything they wanted to learn, because all 4 of them are creative and they're into filming, they're into performing and that type of thing. So
which I think is like so cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. It's been really neat. My oldest son is now my director of photography. Everything we film, he helps determine the lighting, does checks all the cameras, does the camera work for it, supervises when we bring on like more than one shooter. And he went from like not even knowing how to turn on a camera about 3.5 years ago to that. And it's been really cool and he's going to film school in September.
Oh, nice.
So
nice.
Yeah, so he's gonna come back after his first month or 2 away and be like, Dad, you don't know shit.
He means stuff, folks.
Yeah stuff.
Yeah,
so
it's okay.
So
We've only slipped like twice. That's good.
Yeah,
that's a good number for us. Sometimes it gets to be a bit higher.
It does.
So I'm preparing for that already.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So
it's impressive how a little bit of encouragement from family can go so far.
Yeah.
Exactly. And for fans of the show out there, Brian actually did all of the storyboarding and the animatic work for Carolers a Clucking, which is possibly one of my favorite of the classic shorts that we did.
Yeah.
And it was because of him that we were able to have such a really fast turnaround when we picked it back up in 2021. Because we started that in 2020.
Was it that long ago? Wow.
It was that long ago.
Yeah, I had just joined the crew at that time.
Yeah.
Wow. It was a lot of fun to work on. I had a blast working on it.
Yeah. And time.
Well, you're here now.
Yep.
Yeah. We made it, kid.
You're on the pilot now, so I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Welcome to the big leagues.
Right.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Good lord. Oh, the stress. But so, oh my gosh. Well, I gotta tell you, Brian, I absolutely love the fact that you're here and that you're still a part of the Chucky Chicken family and a big part of the team too. What are, I guess, what are some projects that you're excited that you can talk about that you're excited for? What are you looking forward to? Like, would you want to come back to Chucky and help out with stuff? Like,
Yeah, 100%. But right now, I've got to get financially stable.
Yeah.
So that's sort of like priority one right now. We've got a couple projects that we're waiting to see if we got a green light on. There's 2 show ideas that we pitched to Bell, and we're waiting to hear back if they like one of them enough to say go ahead and do it. We've done 2 shows for Bell to date, and Ug Wug was one of them, and then we turned that into like a movie edit of all the shows. We basically just smushed all the shows together into a movie because I had shot them so that they're meant to go from episode to episode, right? So and then we did a docu-series called Drawn to It Behind the Screens, which is all about the 2D animation process as it is kind of today and where it came from kind of thing. So
which is
so
super cool.
Yeah, it's on our YouTube channel. If you go to Drawn to It Studios on YouTube,
plug all your stuff, Brian.
Yeah, you can watch it there. And we're going to be streaming 3 nights a week on our YouTube channel. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 6 p.m. Eastern time, at Atlantic Eastern time. So there's like an hour difference between where I live and New York. So
right. And so Atlantic. 2 hours difference here. So
yeah. So so one night will be all about like either commission stuff or just sort of sketchbook kind of stuff. And then the other 2 nights will be actual projects that we're developing. So we'll be working up towards like taking a project from like a sentence on a piece of paper. Like, we have this idea for this animated project and we want to make a pitch package for it to shop it. So that's going to be our journey, and hopefully through documenting that through live streaming, we can build an audience and sort of learn a lesson or 2 from Vivian, and in terms of getting some of that buzz going.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. I really enjoy the live streaming. I find it quite nerve-wracking because you know,
it definitely takes a certain level of getting used to, and even after that, after you get used to it, it's just like, okay, well, how can I make this more entertaining? You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So because it took us 20 episodes to finally be like, why don't we do a new segment? You know? Why don't we put fan art on the wall? Why don't we showcase like this? So, and then the stress at that point will be, oh my God, it's Thursday. I got to be in front of the computer in order to start the stream.
And on my end, it's just, oh God, I hope my internet doesn't cut out.
Yeah. Well, same here. Because I am getting Ethernet run, but right now we're on a Wi-Fi that some days it's rocking and some days it's nope.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, for those folks out there in the audience, if you have any questions for Brian, let us know in the chat box. I'd love to be on for. I mean, we could keep going forever and ever, but I know that it's. You know.
I'm sorry, I tend to ramble a lot. So
no, it's totally fine. Listen,
no.
When we had James Lopez on the show, we went for like 2.5 hours with no breaks. So you're fine.
Well, it's James Lopez. I mean, he was nice enough to do my podcast back in the day. So if you want to hear like like even more of what he was talking about. Kind of, it almost would work as a companion to your episode.
Yeah, send
go
us
to my
the
YouTube
link and
channel. It's there.
we'll put all the links in the description.
100%.
But I have a question, Brian. Who's your favorite Chucky Chicken character?
That one's tough. I think when I was doing the boards for Carolers of Cluckin, I was starting to develop a fondness for Chucky himself. And I think it's because of Mike's voice.
Mm-hmm.
My friendship with Mike. So when I was boarding him, you can see that in some of the boards I'm paying a little bit more attention than I need to in storyboards. Storyboards can be quite gestural and quick, and unless you're sending your production off to a third party, they really should be that way. But if you're sending it out, try to get your characters on model, because you'll save a whole lot of problems down the road. But I like Chucky because I think I relate to Chucky a lot. But I also like the who's the big guy that answered the door?
Tommy Turkey. Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy Turkey would be close second, because I can relate to that guy too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my. Well, that's really sweet. Thank you. And you're a very dear friend to me too. And anytime we can have you come back and not just do Chucky stuff, but hang out, and you're welcome anytime on the stream. Yeah.
I appreciate that. You guys have something so cool, and you're gonna pop. It's gonna happen. My gut just tells me. And when it does, you'll rescind that invitation. So
we would
never, brother. It's all good.
No,
it's all good. It's how it should.
We never leave our friends behind.
Never.
Yeah, but you know what? I bet you Vivian said that too, right?
Wow.
Well, the difference is that we're not giving Amazon our thing, so
yeah.
Yet.
No.
Yeah. This episode is not sponsored by Amazon. So it is, it's sponsored by all of you guys. So
it's been really cool to watch how Chucky Chicken has grown, because I remember when we first started talking, Mike, that the animation was, you were animating on paper and scanning. And like doing this really weird workflow that I couldn't even wrap my head around.
Drawing the colored lines individually.
And I remember saying to you, I'm like, it'd be pretty good if you got a tablet or something. And I remember you giving me a hard time about that process.
Look, man, we all grow up, okay?
Yeah, it's super cool to watch you grow and become a leader. And it's a leader is somebody who is willing to stand up and say, hey, I made a mistake here, I learned from it, I'd like to go down this path now. And also somebody who can rally the troops when they're feeling super low, and a leader is somebody who knows when the troops, maybe they gotta change too. So it's not easy, and you've taken on a lot on your shoulders. And I think you've done a great job, and I think a lot of people are starting to notice, because the artwork for Chucky Chicken is becoming much more polished, and it's really approaching that broadcast quality, which is just light years away from the early days where the ideas were they were there, but
I was not.
Not even you in terms of your talent. It was more of the pipeline, but wasn't there, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And just major kudos, Mike. And I find myself constantly inspired by your positivity and your just willingness to keep going no matter what. You're like friggin' Rocky Balboa. and I relate to that. Like I want to know I went the distance, and I think we share that, you know. So yeah, man, it's super cool to be on the peripheral of all that, and be a little moon orbiting the super cool things you guys are doing.
You're gonna make me cry. I mean, this is
Do it,
just...
cry.
Wow. Okay.
Sorry, something took over me there. I don't know what happened.
That got dark. Do it, baby.
It's Elias. I mean,
That's just how I show my love.
It would not be a stream if Elias didn't make me, just cry like a little baby. So. But thank you so much, bro. And honestly, man, like that's really sweet of you. We've had I think the past year has been really like our coming. Oh, hello, Mr. Cheese. That's
Mr. Cheese.
That's Tito's.
He's finally on stream.
Nice. Why doesn't the cat have its own Chucky chicken thing laying on the table?
He doesn't show up enough.
Yeah. he's a rare guest.
Yeah.
This year was really a challenging one for us because we did the teaser and then we did the matinee, and it just was kind of a pushing ourselves to the brink kind of year. But I think we came out of 2023 with a pipeline, thank God, for the first time ever. That's good. We have an amazing group of artists, and I'd like to shout out a few of them because I know quite a few of them. One of them being Matthew Coe, who is one of the best animators that I personally know.
He's awesome.
He is. He's worked on Hell of a Boss and Addict, the music video, and he's done a few other stuff. And you have a funny story about him that I think would be kind of fun to talk about on the stream. If you want to, if you feel like sharing it, I mean, if not, it's totally okay. But
I have a funny story with him.
About you were supposed to work with him at one point.
Oh yeah. Well, recently on this music video that we did for the Conservation Council of New Brunswick. Oh, what a name! Like Shield before it was Shield,
Yeah.
Right.
Gotta do something about that name. I knew I had to use Flash because I didn't have a lot of time to establish the Toon Boom pipeline, nor did I have the budget to put it in place. But I had Flash or Animate, right? So because I run Adobe Suite, so I was looking for people to work on it with me that could work within that, and we could still make it look reasonably cool and not like a e-card, right?
Yeah.
But he had sort of kind of, he's like, I don't use Flash, right? And so ultimately I had to, I had an opportunity to work with him, and the project would have benefited so much, but my loss.
Honestly,
so I don't know if it's a funny story, but it's
a coincidence. It's an interesting coincidence.
You dodged a bullet. Let's be real.
Now who's being mean, Mike?
Yeah. No, the project would have really benefited, I think, because there's some of those scenes. Although I'm not sure if we would have had the timeline for his talent, because he's a superhuman animator. Yeah,
he's a superhuman. He animates so fast. It blows our minds.
And like we'll give him a shot, and he'll have like roughs done in like the next couple hours, and then we'll approve of them, and then he'll have it all laid out and I guess keyframed.
Yeah.
Which is super cool. And then like he'll either A, do his own in-betweens, or B, we'll give him to Andrew Mortimer over in England, and he'll in-between them. And you remember Andrew.
Yeah.
He has improved. Oh my gosh. You got to sit down on one of our meetings sometime, Brian, and just see how much everyone has improved. Happy and Corey and, I know the Van Galens, Laura and Inca, want to be a part of the show so bad. They've just had a lot going on with Laura is really, really sick with stuff, and you know, so she's kind of incapacitated at the moment. I know their dad is also going through some stuff, and then not only that, but they're like, you know, they're in the Netherlands, which is how close to Ukraine and Russia, like just a whole heck of nonsense over there right now. So but I think you'd be absolutely blown away to see.
Well, I see it in the end result, that the things you share, the trailer was just phenomenal. You know, it was great. So yeah, keep going, and you know, I need you to keep going, because your whole crew is a source of inspiration to me, especially when I happen to wake up during one of my dips in my depression cycle. Man, I go on the internet, fire up, you know, what you're up to, what your crew's up to, a few other artists I follow, and then I'm able to get back into it. So you know, you got to keep going for that, because you're helping out a lot of us out there, you know, because what people don't know, this is independent, like in its purest form. There's no big budget behind Chucky Chicken at all.
Right.
This is blood, sweat, and tears, and like ×2.
Yeah.
So it's special.
And on another level, adding to that is that it's extremely grassroots. Like, we have the public broadcast station in Chicago running the old cartoons in the morning. We have the deal with the Arcada, and none of that was done through social media or anything. It was Mike going to the people and being like, hey, I have this, here's my pitch, and they're like, yeah, that sounds cool, let's do it. Like,
I honestly, you know, I appreciate the credit, but really the credit also goes to just the hard work that we've done over the course of 3 years, right? Because if I was using the same pitch Bible that we had like back in 2019, 2020, forget it. But it would have never happened. But it was us putting in the work and, you know, making the cartoons and doing, you know, Grim Grinning and Carolers and the Chuck Sonas, which I would love to do more of, and not the Chuck Sonas, the cameos. Remember the character cameos we did? Those were a lot of fun. It was all of us coming together, and then not only that, but like you coming in and helping with the character design, and Tino like making us look even better than we've ever been able to look before. It's a team effort, right? So when I go to people and I go, hey, look what we're working on, like, do you want to be a part of it? They get excited because it's like, oh my gosh, like, there's animation studios out here in Chicago. It's like, yeah, we're here.
Kind of.
We're almost a studio, you know? That's kind of a big word, using a studio.
When I say it's all grassroots, though, is that we haven't really had any help from social media in getting the accomplishments that we have. So like, I think that is very cool, because you don't really hear about that anymore. Like, you don't really hear about, oh yeah, I went to this theater and they're gonna show my short film because they thought it was cool. Like, there's so many people who rely like 100% on social media, getting the views, getting the followers, and all of that. And I think that is one of the things that is the most special to me about Chucky Chicken, is that it feels a lot more organic.
Yeah.
I'm old school that way, you know? I think that it's important that you have something for the community. You have something that they can, you know, cling on to, and they can go, yeah, this was made here. You know, it's a very old-timey cartoon in not just its presentation, but it's in its production and the way that it's, you know, shown around. You know, I there's a reason why I started Chucky Chicken out in black and white, because I wanted him to have that old school progression of like, hey, he started off as a black and white cartoon and now he's in color and now he's got sound, and like he's like one of the old timers, right? So but yeah, I really social media wise, we don't have the biggest following.
Yeah.
Like across all of our accounts together, I think we're just pushing like 8,000 people.
Yeah.
But what
Oh my God, that's like huge. I got 500
Yeah.
on YouTube. You know,
It
Right.
also
so you
we've
guys
also
are
been at
killing
it for a
man.
while.
I mean,
Yeah.
it will feel a theater.
Yeah. Anyway.
It was
any-
Phil Theater. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wait, what happened? I missed it.
Yeah, 500 people could fill a theater.
Tino said that fill a theater.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I mean, but that's the thing, right? Like, you don't know where all these people are, and I think what kind of did it for me was, as much as I, haven't really expanded upon it. That I was on Michael Gracia's show, Get in Tune last night, and a very great guy. He's a comic artist, but he's gonna be getting more into animation this year. But we talked about the Kickstarter that we did in 2021. And I haven't really gone too big into it because, there's things that I don't want to talk about, but there's things that I can talk about. But the one thing that kind of got me excited about it was we only had maybe like 500, 600 subscribers on YouTube.
At that point, and we raised something like $8,000.
$8,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't get it because
that?
the Kickstarter didn't finish, but the
Right.
point the point is that
but the point
you don't
is, like,
need a ton of following to make some good headway.
No, exactly. And if you're good and you're passionate and you don't even need to know what you're doing. And I think that's kind of the point, of having, amazing folks like Brian and even us, like, you don't necessarily need to know what you're doing. You just need to do. You need to get out there and do something and start. And yeah, you're going to have that imposter syndrome, and yeah, it's going to suck. And yes, you're going to go in, seeing, everybody's Picasso compared to your, doodle with your crayons. But, over time,
keep going.
Exactly. And your doodles will become, who's Da Vinci. There we go. I couldn't find a D name for a little bit there, but yeah, you'll get there. It takes time, and this is 15 years with me and Chucky, so I wouldn't trade anything for it. And it's funny because last thing I'll say about it, I'm glad that we failed in 2021 because if we had
succeeded, the show would be completely different. It would not even resemble what the pilot is now. It would have been insane.
Exactly. Like we had
forward.
We had no idea what we were going to do for a story. We just had these characters, we had this world, that was it. And
we had the vague concept of what might be happening.
Right.
But like we didn't have a concrete idea of the world and the characters and their relationships with each other. And so it was really just like this amorphous, ambiguous thing that's just like, yeah, we want to do that. And whatever that is, I don't know.
Yeah. And everyone was like, no, we don't want you to. Go back and fix it.
And now we fixed it. Now it's way better.
Yeah, but you're going to have to wait to see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Charge you more, exactly. So,
there's the Tubi link for Ug Wug. It's free.
Perfect.
People can go on Tubi and watch it for free. We had a budget of $30,000.
Oh wow!
Oh, that's awesome.
That's and we made a 57-minute movie on that with a CGI character. And I'm bragging about it not because of my involvement, but it was a family production, and everything that you have been talking about just now, like with each other, what you've all gone through and grown through, and we went through that on this, and it is a very special thing when people develop and grow on something they are passionate about. The least passionate person about Ug Wug was my wife. She acts in it. She plays Ariel's mom because we had $30,000.
Yeah,
and she did a great job. And you know, she was the least passionate because we made her step in like jam and like the fall on rocks and
Well, I wouldn't be happy either if you made me do all that crap. What the
yeah,
hell?
yeah. So, but she wasn't gonna do it, but Ariel guilt tripped her. Like,
Way to
"Please,
go,
Mom."
Ariel! Way to go!
Taking one for the team.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
But yeah, I just before I go, because I kind of feel like time's up here, but
Yeah, we
before
probably
I go,
should close
Go
out
ahead.
here. So plug all of your
go
stuff.
ahead.
Everybody in the chat, go check out Brian.
Let the man say what he wants to say real quick.
Yeah.
well, I'm not sure what I want to say. I'm trying to get the link actually. So I believe that's the link to our YouTube channel.
Yep.
Okay. And like I said, we're going to be streaming 3 times a week.
Yep.
We just did our first successful one.
And it was a lot of fun.
People will have to bear with me. I'm learning this streaming. I've got a full setup here with a stream deck and all that, so it's fun because there's buttons.
Yeah.
But you know,
Wait till you
buttons
get a
can.
soundboard.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
gosh.
buttons can cause problems if you don't push them right.
Yeah.
You know, so,
What are
which
you
I've
talking
done.
about?
No.
Well, listen, I've pushed a lot of buttons and I've gotten exact the reaction that I've wanted.
Sure,
Nice.
buddy. Just, yeah, that happens
Nice.
every single time.
So yeah, in closing, I want to say thank you to you guys, your whole crew, and I want to apologize to your audience for being so long-winded.
Oh, not at all.
I know I have a slow talking cadence and it can irritate people, but
No,
thank
not
you
at all.
for putting up with me and for sharing your platform.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that.
As a matter of fact, we've had a lot of people. I've been just going through the comments here on the chat, and just to kind of give some shout outs here. We still have Kimberly Gonzalez is here. My dear friend Zara is watching. Hi Zara, good to see you.
Nice.
Jurassic Mation is here. He does ask who will win, Chucky or Freddy Fazbear. I don't know what it is with him and Freddy Fazbear, but you know he's here.
Chucky gonna win.
NGB is here. He says as a 3D animator, my heart goes out to you. And that panic attacks are super scary. I'm so sorry. We had Ostal 8 here as well. Flint Carnage was here. Farnoggin's here. Ashley Songlover is here, and Charlie Harhart Studios and Spacey Domato or Domato.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well,
So
fantastic.
yeah. So thank you folks for listening, and Brian, thank you for being an amazing guest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
you are
always a
welcome
good time
anytime.
hanging out. Always welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, even
I
outside of
appreciate
stream.
it.
It's always
Yes,
good
please
having
come
you
hang out with
around.
us more. Please, we miss you. For
Yeah,
sure.
I check in periodically, but I always seem to do it when nobody's on chat. So
Yeah, fair.
but yeah,
We'll
it's
be there
all
more
good. I really appreciate you sharing your platform, and yeah, thank you.
Farnoggin asks what kind of animal is Brian supposed to be?
Brian is
Oh,
a-
that's a porcupine. I forget the type, but
Um,
they've got the cutest pink nose.
Let me just find it real quick.
Yeah,
It
Elias
is-
designed it.
Yeah, he is our resident animal. He's our zoologist, I guess you could call for this
Not
show.
just that, but I don't know if you know this, Mike, or you've caught on, but he's sort of becoming to you what Milt Call became to Disney. He's sort of solidifying the aesthetic for Chucky Chicken from all the influences. Like he's somehow filtering them to give it this consistency, which is pretty cool to see, actually.
Well, thank you. And for those curious, Brian is a prehensile-tailed porcupine. They have very adorable little faces.
Just like Brian
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
Just real life. So,
Yeah.
Cat Fox is also here. Hello, Cat Fox. Nice to see you. Charlie Harhar Studio says every artist has to go through develop to see what they can do or the character they made. Yes, we do have to go through that development process for sure. Yeah. And to tag along to what you said there, Brian, I 100% know that the contributions that Elias has made to the show, and Tino here too. As I, it's kind of funny because these two guys are really the reason why Chucky Chicken and all the characters in the show look so darn good, right? Like
they're your Frank and Ollie.
They are my Frank and Ollie, 100%.
Nice. And they can fight over who's who, and you can bet on it.
I'm not good with names.
We don't fight.
People, so.
If anything, we always team up to bully Michael.
This is true. This is true. 100% true. So, but it's okay. I get used to it.
All right.
Well, anyway, these guys are going to bully me more off screen, so we got to go. But,
okay.
So hold on, hang on. Let me say the goodbye to everybody. So stick around. You got to say bye.
Sorry. Stop yelling at me. This is why we broke up.
Why are mom and dad always fighting?
We talked about this, Brian. We weren't going to talk about this. Right.
Not again.
Not again.
Thank you, folks, for hanging out and listening to us cluck around for a little bit. If you liked the show, please be sure to hit that like button, subscribe so you don't miss any more fun stuff like this. Make sure that you hit the bell so you're notified, and hit us up on all of our social medias. We're quite literally on everything: Threads, Blue Sky, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you name it, we're on it. Go check out ChuckyChickenCartoons.com for even more information on your favorite characters, as well as being able to watch all the shows in one really cool, convenient place other than YouTube. And it also will give you links to our Patreon as well as to our merch store. So that's going to be the new home for Chucky Chicken going forward. Next week, like we said, we do have a little bit of announcement for the Patreon, but make sure to do that. And also go check out Drawn to It Studios on Twitter, on Instagram, on everything. Go show Brian some love. Let's get him to 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
I want to help him. Let's get him to 1,000 by the end of the month.
Oh, you guys are awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Well, we love you.
Course.
So, So, until next time, this is Mike Cook.
Right. I'm Elias.
Brian.
This never goes to plan, ever.
I know.
Well, I wasn't given a heads up. I would have been. Man, Brian Finlay.
Yeah. And Michael is like that. He doesn't give you a heads up.
Mike doesn't give you heads up. You have to be on your.
Everybody, cut the feed. Cut the feed.
Bye.
All right.
Bye. Wherever you want, even in the driveway.
Bye.
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 Oh.